First off, I want to congratulate our women's cross-country team winning the national championship. Outstanding job. Anytime you do something of that nature, truly is spectacular. So congratulations to Walt Drenth and his team. Secondly, I want to, I think it was a great crowd out there. I know that our crowd was a little bit down from what it usually is, but with the ice in Detroit and the road conditions and everything, coming from out of town, appreciate everybody staying. Being a part of Senior Day was a special day. As far as how we played, you know, I thought it was important we try and put together a complete game, and really, you know, if we don't fumble going in and we don't fumble on the one, probably it's as complete a game as we've had. Very few penalties, enforced penalties, very few, and you know, really only punted the last series and then that one other series right before the half maybe. But defense played very well, 4-14 on third down. Less than 100 yards rushing. I thought we contained the quarterback, who's got the ability to run the football a little bit, scramble around, took Carew out of the game. Great job by our defense. The offense was outstanding. Big game by Lippett again, which I believe it's this 14th. I'm not positive, but I think it's his 14th straight game as a 100-yard game versus Big Ten team. So big game by Lippett. Lippett played both offense and defense, and was supposed to start, but for whatever reason, he didn't find his way to the field as a starter. Got a little confused there, I guess. But I thought he played very well at corner and obviously very well at the wide receiver position as well. So big game by Langford, big runs, and you know, just an outstanding job again by our senior class. So we go with 40 wins now, and 2 more wins ties the all-time record for a class, and that's 51 wins in 5 years. So. For our football team. So just a great job by everybody, and we came focused. So I'll take some questions.
The impression of people outside the program is they see the grumpy face, they think you're very stoic, but you are a very emotional guy. What does Senior Day mean to Mark Dantonio?
Well, you know, it's the last time in Spartan Stadium, and it's Chapter 1 for me. Chapter 1 is last game in Spartan Stadium. It means the end's near. For a lot of guys, we've had a lot of different things go on in their lives. You know, we've seen guys come in at 18 years old and go from a redshirt freshman, which a lot of our guys here were redshirted, all but Tawan Jones were redshirted in their first year, to, you know, so disappointment, you know, struggle, sacrifice, determination, celebrations, you know, starting, doing all the different things. But you go through all the different, if you have guys with you for 5 years, I think you probably hit every element of human development. So we see our guys leave at 5 years later with their degrees in hand. A lot of our guys are graduated or graduating in January, almost all of them. And, you know, they're walking out as men. So, yeah, it's emotional. That's Chapter 1. Chapter 2 will be next week, and Chapter 3 will be the bowl game. And so there's three different times where you sort of experience, you have to step back and say, well, it's the last time we're going to be doing this. And it gets a little bit emotional because you're very attached to guys like Travis Jackson and Tony Lippett and Jeremy Langford. And, you know, I could just name them all. You get very attached to them and their families. So it's great to have their families here today and be a part of today.
Mark, on Tony, he said that you came up to him on Tuesday, said you would play some at corner. So is the idea help for the D, maybe giving him something else to sell down the road as well, or just sort of tribute to him? I
think, no, it's not a tribute. You got to earn your way into that. So we're not just playing him to play him. I first of all think that he helps. He's got great ball skills. He's a big, tall guy. He's got length on him, and he can play bigger receivers. He's started for us at corner before. I think it does add to his draft status or whatever it is. This gives people an opportunity to look at him in that area as well. But he's a very good football player. He could start for us on either side of the ball, and I've always maintained that it's possible to do that. It just makes it, when I say to a guy, hey, you got a chance to come here and play both ways, I mean that. So he's a guy that we've said that about. We're going to do that a little bit, and I think that based on, quite frankly, everybody's play, we just needed to do that. So it's not a tribute to him. I felt like we could do that this game. We'll probably do it next game as well and see how it works out.
Mark, over here. The last year's senior class was a storied group in terms of building and ending with the Rose Bowl. This is kind of the class after the class. Some guys that were on the scrap heap, so to speak, before having great finishes their career. What are your feelings towards
Guys were where?
on the scrap heap when you think about Lippett and Langford, where they were 2 years ago
Oh, yeah.
to now? And what are your feelings towards them and the way their career arcs were here versus maybe other groups?
Well, last year they were the two of the main cogs in our success. Tony Lippett and Jeremy Langford had huge years last year, and they just developed and continued to carry themselves. And I think the message to our football team right now is last year's team was last year's team, but coming into the season, how we were going to handle success. We were going to be able to handle it and take care of it and be able to move this program forward. And, yeah, we had a disappointing game out in Oregon and a disappointing game here, where we didn't get it done. But 9-2, with a chance to go 10-2 in your season and be ranked in the top 10 is pretty significant to follow up to what we accomplished last year. So it speaks to the development of our players. But those particular guys in general, again, all of our redshirt freshmen, all of these guys, Nick Hill, Langford, I could just name them all, Keith Mumphrey, all these guys have been through times where they've had to step back and watch somebody else play and then, roll up their sleeves and get back to work. And they came out as stars. I mean, they truly are stars of our program right now.
First and foremost was, back here, Mark, getting the win. But after you felt like that was secure, how much was it for you to maybe let this be an enjoyable day for the seniors and have some fun with it when we saw?
You didn't see me laughing out there? I was laughing a lot. You guys, they never pick up on that. It was about that. I wanted Connor Cruz. That little run with Connor Cruz was supposed to be for Travis Jackson, and we did that with Joel Foreman a couple years back. And there's nothing like, and I don't mean to throw it as an insult towards anybody, but there's nothing like letting an offensive lineman run the football. Do you know what that means to those guys? If you've ever been an offensive lineman, the opportunity to just touch the football is like finding gold out there. So, we wanted to give him that opportunity, and so it went to Connor Cruz, and I think he performed admirably. So, went to high gear.
Coach, we've heard a lot about from the bowl committee about this game control. Today you won with a lot of authority. How important is it to try and stay in the top 10 so you can get one of those elite bowls, number one? And my second question is about this week of practice, moving guys around, keeping it fresh. You've talked about the importance of that at this stage of the season. If you could just talk about those two things.
Yeah, I think it's important as we could just continue to try and move forward in rankings and things of that nature. And hey, if you win, good things happen. That's the way I always look at it. It doesn't matter how much you win by necessarily, although some people will point to that, just win. And if you win, usually the next thing takes care of itself. So that's what we'll try and do. And we've got a great challenge going to State College next week to play Penn State. Tough place to play, an enjoyable place to play. We'll have a great crowd, all that kind of thing. So, we'll take it to there and try and get number 10. But in the answer to your question, I think we always got to keep it fresh here. I think that's the key to success, being able to just do things differently and keep your emotions and keep your energy high. And, just that little move and Lippett over to the defense provides him with a little spark for senior day where he's looking forward and being a two-way player and doing those type of things. It also helps other people. So it's just one of the things, or putting in that little reverse, just a little wrinkle, or faking the field goal, and saying, hey, we're going to do it this week. So those type of things, I think, keep people a little bit on edge a little bit, and they look forward to those things and make it fun.
Well, Mark, you kind of answered my one question about the fake field goal over here, Mark.
Okay.
But after Geiger ran, why you guys didn't challenge the play to see if he scored a touchdown?
Well, that would have been a good challenge, but usually they're right. I figure the guy up top's making a decision, but yeah, probably would have been a good decision to do.
Mark, not to belabor the fake field goal, but I'm curious, up 32 points in the third quarter, if there's any concern with how that's perceived on the other side when you run a play like that?
No, that would have been a long field goal. So go for it on fourth down or fake it. That would have been a long field goal, and I felt like we're just trying to play the game at that point. We needed to, at that point we had not scored in the second half, so we're just playing.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thanks, guys.